Now we'll discuss this topic: hygiene, disease and everyday resistance. The subtopic is Plague Strikes Hanoi. In 1903 CE, Hanoi was struck by bubonic plague. The rats used the large sewage pipes for their breeding purposes, and thus the plague spread all over the city of Hanoi. Next topic, the rat hunt. To stem this invasion, a rat hunt was started, and the French hired Vietnamese workers and paid them for each rat they caught. Rats began to be caught in thousands, which taught the Vietnamese the success of collective bargaining. Still, none of this prevented the bubonic plague. Also, the Vietnamese invented numerous small ways in which colonialism was fought in everyday life. Next topic, religion and anti-colonialism. Colonial domination was exercised by control over all areas of private and public life. Vietnam's religious beliefs were syncretic with a mixture of Buddhism, Confucianism and local practices, and opposed Christianity introduced by the French missionaries. For example, the Scholars' Revolt in 1868 CE or Common Era, which was led by officials at the imperial court. They led a general uprising in Nguyen and Hatien provinces, where over 1,000 Catholics were killed. After a struggle, the French crushed the movement, but this uprising inspired other patriots to rise up against them. The Ho Have movement, founded by a man called Hein Phu So, was a popular religious movement founded in 1939 CE or Common Era, which gained great popularity. He performed miracles and helped the poor, criticized useless expenditure, opposed the sale of child brides, gambling and the use of alcohol and opium. The French authorities exiled him to Laos and sent many of his followers to concentration camps. Movements like these aroused anti-imperialist sentiments significantly. Now we'll talk about this topic, the Vision of Modernization. French colonization was resisted at many levels and in various forms. Some intellectuals felt that Vietnamese traditions had to be strengthened to resist the domination of the West, while others felt that Vietnam had to learn from the West even while opposing foreign domination. In the late 19th century, educated in the Confucian tradition, Phan Boi Chau, 1867 to 1940 CE Common Era, was a nationalist who opposed the French domination. He formed the Revolutionary Society Dai Tan Hoi in 1903 CE or Common Era with Prince Quang Day as the head. He met the Chinese reformer Liang Qichao 1873 to 1929 CE Common Era in Yokohama in 1905 CE, and influenced by him wrote his most influential book, The History of the Loss of Vietnam, which became a widely read bestseller. However, other nationalists strongly differed with Phan Boi Chau. For example, Phan Chu Trinh, 1871 to 1926, was hostile to the monarchy and opposed the idea of resisting the French with the help of the court. His desire was to establish a democratic republic. He demanded that the French set up legal and educational institutions and develop agriculture and industries. Now we'll discuss this topic, other ways of becoming modern, Japan and China. Early Vietnamese nationalists had a close relationship with Japan and China. They provided models for those looking to change, refuge from the French police, and locations where revolutionaries held meetings. In the first decade of the 20th century, a Go East movement became popular. Vietnamese students went to Japan to acquire modern education. These nationalists looked for foreign arms and help and appealed to the Japanese as fellow Asians. Because Japan had modernized itself, had resisted colonial domination by the West, and had become a major military power. Vietnamese students had established a branch of the Restoration Society in Tokyo, but after 1908 CE or Common Era, the Japanese Ministry of Interior clamped down on them. Many, including fanboy Chow, were deported and exiled to China and Thailand. Developments in China also inspired Vietnamese nationalists as well. In 1911 CE, or the long-established Chinese monarchy was overthrown by a popular movement under Sun Yat-sen, and a republic was set up. Inspired by these developments, Vietnamese students organized the Association for the Restoration of Vietnam, also known as the Vietnam Quan Phuc Hoi, and their objective was to set up a democratic republic. Now we'll discuss this topic, the Communist movement and Vietnamese nationalism. The Great Depression of the 1930s had a profound impact on Vietnam. The prices of rubber and rice fell, leading to rising rural debts, unemployment and rural uprisings, such as in the provinces of Nghệ An and Hà Tĩnh. In February 1930 CE or Common Era, Ho Chi Minh brought together competing nationalist groups to establish the Vietnamese Communist Party, also known as the Vietnam Cong San Dang Party, which was later renamed as the Indo-Chinese Communist Party. In 1940 CE, or Japan occupied Vietnam to control Southeast Asia. So nationalists fought against the Japanese as well as the French. The League for the Independence of Vietnam, also known as the Vietnam Doc Lap Dong Men, also known as the Viet Minh, fought against the Japanese occupation and recaptured Hanoi in September 1945 CE or Common Era. The Democratic Republic of Vietnam was formed and Ho Chi Minh became its chairman. Now we'll discuss this topic, the new Republic of Vietnam. The new republic faced a number of challenges, as the French tried to regain control by using the Emperor Bao Dai as their puppet. After 8 years of fighting, the French were defeated in 1954 CE or Common Era at Dien Bien Phu. In the peace negotiations in Geneva that followed the French defeat, Vietnam was divided into two divisions, North Vietnam and South Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh and the communists took power in the north, while Bao Dai's regime was put in power in the south. This division turned Vietnam into a deadly battlefield. The Bao Dai regime was soon overthrown by a coup led by Ngo Dinh Diem. Diem built a repressive and authoritarian government. Anyone who opposed them was called a communist and was jailed and killed. Diem retained Ordinance 10, a French law that permitted Christianity but outlawed Buddhism. His dictatorial rule was opposed by the National Liberation Front, also known as the NLF. With the help of the Ho Chi Minh government in the north, the NLF fought for the unification of Vietnam. The United States of America, or the US, watched this alliance with fear. Worried about communists gaining power, it decided to intervene decisively, sending in troops and arms.